my fucking god.
Oh, shit. Look!
Get some help! Is Dr. White down in the psycho section?
We did it. Come on. You want to get out of here? Then come on. Get your head straight and follow me.
Head straight, follow you.
Manhunt 2 is a stealth action psychological survival horror video game by Rockstar Games, and is the sequel to 2003's Manhunt, although this title isn't a direct sequel. The game was released in the US and Europe on PlayStation 2, PlayStation Portable, and the Nintendo Wii consoles on October 31st of 2007. The game finally released on PC in 2009 after several issues with the game's rating across many countries, as Manhunt 2 was plagued with controversy for being far too violent of a game. Much like the original Manhunt, Manhunt 2 was deemed much too violent of a game and was given an adult-only rating in many countries.
Wait, how do you know all this?
Danny, listen. It's a manhunt, and they won't stop until we're both dead. Come on. Let's go.
After the controversy of the original game's release, as many would project, Manhunt 2 was under the microscope right out of the gates, as many criticized the game for being beyond brutal. And that's the thing. Manhunt 2 does in fact take the violence of the original game and turns it up even more. The murders, the executions that the first game was criticized for, the sequel goes even further. Rockstar was forced to modify the game upon release and featured effects to somewhat censor the graphic violence in the game.
This is the place.
Unlike the first game, Manhunt 2 features a mini-game sequence while in the shadows. In the original game, the player was virtually invisible while in the shadows. However, in Manhunt 2, if a hunter gets too close to you in the shadows, an on-screen prompt would appear, a mini-game if you will. And if you, as the player, failed the prompt, the hunter would pull you out of the shadows and begin pursuing. This game featured new mechanics from the original. Players could now execute hunters from on top of buildings, as well as perform executions with firearms and the surrounding environments. Amongst other things, this game featured many more weapons and objects to take out hunters in the surrounding areas, as well as being much more graphically violent and cruel compared to the original.
But we don't have time to reminisce.
This game, though, however, isn't a direct sequel to the original Manhunt. Instead, this game features an entirely new story, new setting, and new characters. In fact, the events of Manhunt 1 aren't even mentioned or referenced in Manhunt 2. Manhunt 2 centers around a protagonist by the name of Daniel Lamb, who was a former scientist of the Project Pikmin, who wakes up in Dixmoor Asylum without any memories of who or what he was.
Well, it's too late to back out now. Let's move.
In the year 2001, the Pikmin Project dealt with a top-secret weapon experiment which was led by Dr. White. Everything looked to be going well until the project suddenly had its government's funding cut due to its controversial work methods, which meant that the project would be shut down indefinitely. Dr. Pickman believed he was close to a breakthrough and decided to do one last experiment. However, he needed a subject in order to carry out this work. Daniel volunteered one of the many subjects for the experiments. Leo Casper, the true antagonist of Manhunt 2, a psychopath who was also put in the asylum by the project. Leo was once a government agent and has expertise in combat, evasion, infiltration, assassination. He helps Daniel escape and teaches him his own well-honed tricks of the trade. His personality was taken by the project and implanted into Daniel, while remained separated from Daniel's own mind by the Pickman Bridge. However, the Pickman Bridge was not perfected yet, and has resulted in Leo being able to freely talk to Daniel inside of his head. His personality also took over many times when it was not called upon. Danny lost all control and could not decipher between himself and Leo. This meaning that Leo was slowly turning Daniel into a serial killer.
My God. Danny? Is that you? What are you doing here? You shouldn't have come here, Danny.
You know my name?
They'll catch you, take you back.
Tell me what's going on.
It's the project, Danny. They're everywhere.
What's going on? Leo said I should...
Leo? You've spoken to Leo?
Without Leo, I wouldn't even be here.
Okay, you told me to give you this. The old safe house.
Safe house? Where?
Above the cinema. Don't come back here, Danny. Please, just let it go.
She's setting us up, Danny.
Got that safe house.
Don't trust that whore.
She wanted to help.
Wanted to help? She wanted to save her own fucking neck.
I'm gonna find a way in.
Think, Danny. The project are everywhere, and they're watching. You're gonna get us both killed.
So it seems that Daniel is being hunted by the project's militia and bounty hunters. The watchdogs are the project's cleanup crew, so to speak, and they are hired to clean up this mess. The project also has ties to some of the gangs in the areas, such as the Furs and the Red Kings, who are also hired to hunt down Danny and Leo. With Leo taking more and more control of Danny, Danny is becoming the weapon the project was looking to create, although he is uncontrollable due to the Pickman Bridge. Danny keeps having blackouts, and that's when Leo is taking over. Daniel is simply becoming a ruthless serial killer and murders anyone he crosses, even police officers and innocent civilians who cross his path.
This must be the safe house.
Throughout the game, Daniel will have brief flashbacks to events that occurred previously, showing many of the ruthless events that occurred when Leo had begun taking over, prior to Danny ending up in Dixmoor Asylum.
I'm sorry, Danny, but it's gotta be this way. The Pickman Bridge. Remove it. Get it out of my head so I can think straight. If you thought I would do that, you're out of your fucking mind. Michael? Where are we?
All units into position. Terminate both targets. Repeat, both targets.
What? Not both targets, not me, you fucking assholes!
The first flashback episode Danny has is called Best Friends, where Leo takes control of Danny and kills Danny's best friend Michael in order to retrieve a key to a boat to escape the project militia. In this episode, Leo is in control, and he chases Michael throughout the facility, eventually brutally murdering him just to obtain a key in order to escape. Leo chases Michael through the facility. Michael is defending himself with a flare gun. Leo pursues him until he eventually catches up with Michael and blows his fucking head off.
You killed Michael?
That fucker double-crossed us. Come on, we gotta get out of here.
those cops knew who you were, you're gonna have to change those clothes.
Wait, what's this?
Judy? Michael said they messed with my head.
Danny then begins to look for Judy Cinder, who is also a project scientist and an agent supervisor of the project. Danny hunts down Judy because he believes she can help him piece together his past. After Danny blasts his way out of the adult movie theater, he tells Leo that he is sick of this. He is sick of killing, he is sick of running.
I'm sick of this. We're gonna find Judy and talk to her.
Soon after this, Danny will have another flashback of his old life and the stress that the project caused at home with his family.
You're gambling with your life. What about me and the kids?
Look, if it's a success, we can clear all our debts and start a new life.
Turning yourself into a psycho? What are you thinking?
This is a real chance to change the course of medical history.
Stop fighting!
What's wrong, Mom?
Come here, honey.
Son, we still love each other.
You're asking too much of us, Danny. Of yourself.
What does psycho mean?
It just means someone who thinks differently.
Can't you see that you have to put your family first?
I am putting them first. If this all works out, we'll be providing for our great-grandchildren.
This is so wrong, Danny.
Project Danny. They're
His
everywhere.
conditioning has fractured. He's unstable.
Daddy, what's wrong?
You can wake up.
After this, Danny wakes up. Danny's pursuit of Judy leads him to a brothel that has ties to the project for whatever reason. He believes Judy is nearby, so he works his way through the whorehouse, killing anyone who gets in his way.
I'm looking for Judy.
Wait a minute. I'll check to see. Wait here. Hey, buddy. Don't go snooping, all right? Why don't you stay where I can see you, tough guy? Guy here asking for Judy. Glasses. 10 minutes? No problem, sir. We'll keep him entertained.
To this point so far, you can see how far different this game's story is from the original Manhunt. Not a bad story or setting, but it's obvious that Manhunt 2 didn't have as much thought put into its story and lore as the previous game. While yes, technically, it plays much better and has many updated mechanics, it lacks the eeriness of the previous title. So much thought was put into the original Manhunt's promotional lore and characters. Outside of Danny and Leo, this game doesn't wow you with interesting characters or antagonists.
I don't know how he found
Leo's basically your main antagonist in this game.
Are you crazy?
The original Manhunt had characters such as Starkweather, Ramirez, and Pigsy, all of which appeared in the game and were taken out by James Earl Cash, the original game's protagonist. Manhunt 2 falls short here. For me, anyways.
Stay away from me.
While I like the overall story, it's just not as deep as I wished it were. Also, there are no overly interesting gangs or hunters in this title compared to the original Manhunt. All the hunters and gangs in Manhunt 2 are mostly hired by the project. Danny and Leo will see Project Militia, bounty hunters, and some low-level, weak little gangs that have ties to the project, and mostly only appear one time throughout the story. None of which are all that interesting, which is why I have waited to this point in the video to mention any of them. They are literally all there to act as obstacles. Project Militia, known as Watchdogs, are the most prominent enemies in Manhunt 2, appearing multiple times, as well as the Bloodhounds, which are hired bounties, but none of which bring anything much more to this game. However, like the previous game, many of the mechanics are basically the same. While improved in many ways, Manhunt 2 at its core is still a stealth-based action shooter with some survival horror elements and characteristics. This game obviously still relies heavily on shadows and stealth-based cover mechanics to take out enemies. Danny and Leo can hold their own a little bit better than James Earl Cash could from the first game, in many ways in the hand-to-hand combat, but this is still not the preferred way to play a Manhunt game. Hand-to-hand combat is better than Manhunt 1 here, but is still not a smart approach when dealing with multiple enemies, as Danny and Leo will be outnumbered, so this is more of a last resort option, just like the previous game.
Where's he gonna go? Cletus, when I give the word, I want you to flush that sucker out.
Manhunt 2 introduces some unique new ideas, such as helicopters that can search for you in the shadows, so that lurking in the shadows for too long could mean you being spotted and pursued for being idle. Also, there are some unique new mechanics where Danny can climb and jump onto certain objects. This was not featured in the original Manhunt.
This is our last chance, watchdogs. Take up your positions and ready your weapons.
Constantly throughout the game, the watchdogs keep trying to ambush Danny and stop him at any means necessary. They try to ambush him several times throughout the game. Danny blacks out and again has another flashback from 6 years ago, where he and Leo were trying to escape the project previously, which leads us to another flashback episode titled Ritual Cleansing, where Danny, who once again has been taken over by Leo, breaks into the project's archive facility in order to destroy and burn all their files so that they can finally escape once and for all. Throughout this episode, Leo once again has control, and he's killing innocent people left and right. He takes out a truck driver just to grab his gasoline tank. Also, Leo takes out private security teams, security guards, and police officers throughout this episode.
Our history is officially erased. Now we can be whoever we want. There's just one more person to take care of. After that, freedom.
Another scenario that differs from the first game. James Earl Cash from the original Manhunt was forced into killing, and only participated in order to survive. He had no choice, and the gangs he were killing were also pieces of shit, like murderers, pedophiles, and serial killing psychopaths. But here, in Manhunt 2, Leo takes control of Danny and kills any and everybody who gets in his way. You are basically playing a psychotic murderer who has no moral compass, and does so in the most vicious fashion. Based on how long you stalk an enemy determines how vicious the kill will be, just like the previous game.
Project behind this too?
They're behind everything, Danny.
TVMK. I watched that channel.
Danny and Leo finally catch up to Dr. Pickman in his laboratory.
Come on, let's deal with
Danny discovers that the project had brainwashed him prior to volunteering for the project, using MKUltra style hypnotism methods. As they close in on Pickman, Pickman becomes aware that Danny and Leo are nearby. Due to the MKUltra style hypnosis, Pickman can mumble a simple phrase to make Danny black out unconscious. Danny then wakes up in a back room. He is captive with watchdogs nearby, but he breaks out and takes out anyone who gets in his way, does whatever he can to get back to Pickman. Once they track down Pickman, Leo will once again take over Danny's body.
Good work, Danny. I'll take it from here. You can be a little squeamish.
Daniel?
Daniel, please untie me.
Danny isn't here.
Leo.
I want you to remove the Pickman Bridge.
Think, Leo. If I take it out, what do you think will happen to you?
I'll be free.
No, you'll be dead. Now let me speak to Daniel.
Shut up! Danny's gone.
Shut up or what, Leo? If you kill me, Leo, you'll be lost forever. Now let me speak to Daniel.
You're lying.
It only takes one phrase from me, Leo. Don't push
Or
me.
what, huh?
What seest thou else in the
dark, backward and abysm of time?
Michael, is he ready to go?
Motor muscles at rest. Pupillary dilatation complete.
Dr. White, pass me the sample carrier marked Leo.
But we agreed to use the control personality, not Leo. Leo is a killer.
Yes, I know what Leo was. Now, we've got one chance to make this work before they shut this project down.
Okay, Dr. Pickman. He's ready to go.
Leo kills Pickman. Now Leo and Danny are on their own. There is no one left to remove the Pickman Bridge from their head.
But Leo said there was another, one last person we could get answers from. We searched everywhere. Days turned into weeks. I was slowly becoming a ghost.
14, 54.
Another thing that's missing from Manhunt 2's experience is that haunting, ambient soundtrack that the original game had. I can and always will remember the music used in the original Manhunt. It made the game experience more intense throughout the playthrough. Manhunt 2's soundtrack isn't terrible by no means, but it's a lot more reserved and less memorable, often focusing more on environmental noises and music than an actual soundtrack, so to speak. I see what they were going for, but I think it comes up short when compared to the original. The original had more of a John Carpenter style ambience. Also, compared to the original, the gangs will chatter and talk some in Manhunt 2, but it's nowhere near as intimidating or entertaining as the gangs of the original game. They would often taunt the player or just say hilarious shit while looking for the player. You do get some of that here in Manhunt 2, but it's nowhere near the original Manhunt and the voice actors that they had. I know it seems like I'm kind of shitting on Manhunt 2, but really, it's not so much that as it is the love that I have for the original title. It's by far one of my favorite games of that era, and possibly of all time. Although, I still really enjoyed Manhunt 2 for what it was, and I'm glad that it exists. I'm glad that Rockstar Games gave us a sequel at all. Back to the story. Finally, Danny comes to realization of what Leo is, as Dr. White explains to Daniel what has happened in the past, as Danny cannot remember everything from his past. He slowly begins to remember the work of the project and begins to reflect on it. Dr. White then shows Daniel what Leo did to his family when he took over Danny's body.
And implant a second personality, triggered at will. Our intention was to create the perfect weapon, a killer with no conscience or memory. Does he sound familiar, Danny?
Leo.
Two minds in one body, unaware of each other.
Wait, that's not right. Leo and I talk all the time.
The bridge malfunctioned early on. We were working to repair the damage when you, or Leo, decided to escape.
I see. How do we fix this?
Pickman thought his mercenaries could destroy Leo. I believe the only person who can stop him is you. Oh, it's difficult.
After Danny begins to remember what has truly happened, he is now aware that Leo was using him and was planning to completely take over Danny's body and mind so that he could live again. The game then cuts back to another flashback episode from 6 years ago, titled Domestic Disturbance, where Leo is once again in control of Daniel and is being hunted by local police and SWAT teams as he is wanted for murder. Leo works his way through town to end up at Daniel's old family home, where Leo, using Daniel's body, would murder Daniel's wife and family.
Daniel, you will not remember anything before this moment. You will not remember us being here. You will never speak to Leo again. A little too effective, I feel. Get him out of here. Remove the cameras, torch the house.
Do this. I can't just dump Leo, Dr. White. He saved my life.
Dr. White then finally shows Danny the footage that was captured at Daniel's house that night Leo took over. He finally sees what Leo did to his wife. It is now clear to Daniel that he has to take out Leo.
Hickman's orders.
Later, Dr. White will hypnotize Danny into a sleep-like state where he will have a showdown with Leo in order to take control once and for all, and eliminate Leo from his mind before he can take over for
This will
good.
help you understand why you must let go of Leo.
Danny and Leo will have one last battle, in which Daniel must defeat Leo from taking over his body and mind for good. Upon defeating Leo, the game will come to a close, and Daniel will have a shot at finally leaving all this behind and living a new life with a new name.
Time to get you out of my head once and for all.
I hope you guys enjoyed this retrospective. I tried to cover everything from the story, reception of Manhunt 2, and its controversy, my own personal thoughts and feelings on this game, while also comparing it to the previous Manhunt game. Manhunt is a game series I really enjoyed for what it was. Thank you all for watching. Please like and share. Also subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.
Who the fuck wants to be Daniel?
I do! You hear me?
You see? You can't get rid of me. Could never get me.
My name is Daniel Lamb. My name is Daniel Lamb!
My name is... I don't know my name. Your name is David Joyner. You live downtown at the following address. You'll find everything you need there. Good luck. 526 Hope Street, Apartment B.